Hey, our DVD collection. This is PwnUNMK, PWND underscore U underscore IN underscore MK. These are the 5 most meaningful Blu-rays and or DVDs in my collection and why. I actually submitted this as the Spotlight collection for this week, so it's sort of a personal one for me. It's one I always like these where we sort of get to talk about why movies are so important to us. And why we really gravitate to specific films and that sort of a thing. The first one that I want to talk about is American History X. You can see it right there. It's my Blu-ray. American History X is the film that has possibly had the most significant impact on my life. I was an angry young man once, and this movie really helped me through it. When I was a teenager, I had a lot of anger that I was holding on to. I saw a world full of, stupidity and injustice, and I was really helpless to affect it, in any way. And there's a line in American History X that is hands down the most powerful one for me. It says, life is too short to walk around pissed off all the time. And to this day, there are times when I find myself getting caught up in a wave of anger, and I have to sort of sit down and take a deep breath and repeat that phrase to myself. And I think that I'm a much happier and more laid-back person in general because of this movie. It sort of helped me, appreciate my life and, not let anger sort of spoil that. So that's why that one's a significant one for me. The next movie on my list is The Crow. You can see the Blu-ray and DVD right here, I think, sort of. I don't really have my camera up, right? But I know that the DVD is of lower quality than the Blu-ray. I know this is a great transfer, but I've watched the DVD so many times that it's sort of ingrained as being the definitive version for me, and just a little bit of higher refresh rate or whatever on the Blu-ray sort of is a little off-putting when I watch it, but I'll get used to it over time, I'm sure. Anyway, I love The Crow. I love every frame of it. I've probably watched it 100 times, and there isn't a line from it that I don't know. And I still remember being 8 years old and seeing that movie at the little video rental place in the back of a drugstore. And as a kid, I liked Batman, but I loved The Crow. This was what a superhero movie would be like in real life. And more importantly than any of that, it's probably the most quotable movie in my life. It's dark and it's violent and it's angry, but it has such positive messages in it. It's, I can't rain all the time, and nothing is trivial, and love goes on forever, and mother is the name for God on the hearts and lips of all children. These are meaningful quotes, and it's the sort of thing that taught me, The Crow probably taught me more about life than any other single influence, combine that with the sort of brutal, unrelenting, violent justice of the movie, and you'll understand why it's so important to me. So, there's that. The next movie on my list is A Nightmare on Elm Street. You can see my, imported Blu-ray collection here. I'm from America, but this is one of my few imports. Hands down, Nightmare on Elm Street is my favorite horror movie ever. I can still clearly remember the first time that I watched it. I was at a sleepover at a friend's house, and I was probably 9 years old. And his older brother had the VHS collection, which I'll try and pop up somewhere here. I should interrupt this by saying that I was not a brave kid. I remember having to leave the theater during Dante's Peak because the sort of subharmonic rumble thing just terrified me about halfway through. A Nightmare on Elm Street was the first horror movie that I had ever seen, and I did not sleep the night that I watched it. I was too scared, but the movie really sort of awoken something in me, which was sort of a love for the whole horror genre, which is something that I had never really experienced before. I think the next day, after I got home, I took my bike and I pedaled to the local, video store, and I rented all 7 of them and came home and watched them straight through. And it didn't really stop there. My family used to do, once or twice a week we'd go to the library to rent movies, and they had I think Tuesday and Thursday we would go because they had rent one get one free sort of a thing. And I would go to the back, the free section of older movies, and I would look for any horror movie that I hadn't seen at all, and I would, I'd rent that, because I know my parents would approve any movie that was free, and I still am in love with horror movies to this day, specifically probably the American slasher over any other sort of subgenre, because A Nightmare on Elm Street really impressed upon me that that's what a horror movie was. It was this sort of it was horror movies that were almost a little bit about justice, where the killer had been sort of wronged in some way and was seeking revenge. But that, it's hugely meaningful to me, So there's that. Next one on my list is Clerks. There's Clerks there. Clerks is hilarious and poignant and charming, and more importantly, Clerks is what inspired me to be a filmmaker. Clerks is proof that anybody can do it. I mean, you just have to have the drive and the persistence. It taught me that everyone's perspective is important, and to appreciate, my life and what I have. It taught me things that, as a kid, that I really didn't understand until I was probably an adult. It taught me that this is the only life that I have, and that complaining about it won't make it any better. That I need to go out there and make this the life that I want. It really is a significant feature for me in terms of inspiring me, as an artist to sort of follow my dreams and that sort of a thing. My last pick, I know I've got 4 hard R's so far in my list here, which just proves that I had a completely unfiltered childhood. But my last one is not a nostalgia pick necessarily, but I know some people have gone hard nostalgia with this, like it's all animated movies from the 90s. But the last one for me is Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. And it's not a full nostalgia pick, but as a kid, I would watch Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory over and over and over again. Like, I would take the tape out of the VCR, I would look at it for a minute, I would put it back in, rewind it, play it again. I mean, it seemed like every single one of my relatives had a copy of that movie that I ruined after repeated visits to their house. To this day, I can still watch that movie over and over. I mean, I will finish it and I'll say, man, I want to watch that again. That's, it's a great film, and it taught me things again that, I maybe even didn't understand when I was that age. It teaches you sort of about greed and selfishness and, appreciating the people in your life and doing what's right, and that if you sort of believe hard enough that all your dreams can come true. And I have a lot of, sort of cynicism and, practicalism that I sort of probably guide my life more by, but Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory really just makes you sort of believe, at least for the rest of the day, you believe that, that dreams can come true and that it's worth doing the right thing, and, there's, that movie really probably makes me a better person, in general. On an unrelated note, fuck Tim Burton. But yeah, so that's the 5 movies that are most meaningful to me, that I have. I don't have any. There's no reason to add that comment. There's no movies that are super meaningful to me that I'm like, yeah, I'm waiting on that one. No, if it was significant to me, I fucking have it, But yeah, I look forward to comments, either on Reddit or here on YouTube. I probably won't get more than 2 YouTube views out of this, but thanks for watching.